Jonathan Moore, who is also our current sergeant at arms, was one of the first people whom I got to know, or to briefly know in the club, whom had approached me into an ice-breaking conversation when I first attended this club. Jonathan Moore is pleased that he has finally had a shot at finishing the first chapter in his Toastmasters journey. Being incapacitated with an eye injury during Christmas has certainly given him a lot of time to reflect on the events of this year. This is the result of his musings. May I welcome Jonathan Moore with a speech titled Turning the Pages with Priceless Valuables. Jonathan Moore.
Ladies and gentlemen, before I begin my speech, I would like you to reflect on a few questions I'm going to ask. I would like you to reflect on what is important to you in your life. Give yourself 3 seconds. Is it money? Is it position? Is it power? Or is it having a good personality? Next thing, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, I would like you to reflect on what is your goal in life, the main aim which you have, which you seek to achieve within the next few years, within the next decade. Is it achieving that CEO position? Is it achieving that 5-figure income within the next year or 2? Or is it opening your own company? A very good evening to you, fellow Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen. As we approach the end of the year 2010, it is a turn of the page, the beginning of a new chapter. As we walk towards the new year, we always ask ourselves, what have we done throughout this year? What are my achievements? Did we walk through life leaving our valuables intact? Or do we leave a trail of broken, irreplaceable objects and people in our wake? In our quest for glory? Or is it in our quest for power? I, for one, ladies and gentlemen, have made that mistake countless times. I like to achieve. I seek the thrill of combat. Combat not in terms of military arms, but combat in terms of achievement. Getting that position, beating that person in a debate, standing in front of the crowd and wowing them. These are some of my achievements. From a humble English teacher, right now I am training teachers. I interview prospective teachers for my company. I observe their mock teaching sessions. And I give feedback on whether what they have done well, on what they will do to achieve, apart from managing my own classes as well. From a teacher of students to a teacher of teachers. And soon, within the next decade or so, me and my brother, we intend to open our company, our own language school. These are some of my achievements throughout the entire year. But all this comes with a cost. It came when I started to forget my family. I started to get into a lot of fights with my parents, especially my father. We actually had shouting matches. I brushed my mother off. I came back late in the name of actually getting the job done. Even once in college, I even told my classmates, when I was the leader of a team, relationships don't matter. The mission, the job, the assignment is what matters. We get it done no matter what the cost. No matter what it takes, we will win. True enough, I walked out of university with a first-class honors degree. The government exempted my loan. They turned my loan into a scholarship so I did not have to pay back any of the Malaysian government a single cent of my tuition fees. But it did not bring me any friends. I realized that I had, throughout my entire years of life, with that attitude in mind, I left behind a trail of broken relationships, friendships whom I've actually cut off in the name of fighting for success, in the name of being the best. Until this incident on Christmas Eve. It was a salutary lesson, which, of all people, my students and my friends and my family reminded me of. It was the night at the Curve where I actually had organized a Christmas party. Despite a few hiccups, it was a success. And I was actually in the midst of reveling with my students. In fact, my students got so into the party that they decided to ambush me with snow sprays, soap base. I took a few point-blank shots to the face. I said, okay guys, that's it. You're going down. I walked up to the vendor. I bought 30 ringgit worth of snow sprays, which is 15 cans. I actually thought I was John Rambo. I actually strapped them down, like machine gun magazines, and I took out my bag and asked my colleagues to take care of it. I walked in with dual sprays like that. You're going down, guys. 1, 2, 3, like that. Bang! I ran out of ammo. I threw it down. I drew another can. I drew 2 more cans and I fought. 1 against 20. Apart from that, I even fought against random passerbys. Yeah, that's what happens on New Year's Eve. Random people shooting people they don't know. I was also ambushed at the entrance of McDonald's. All of us were into the spirit of Christmas and the New Year's Eve and party and reveling. But they all came with a cost. The next day, even though in fact, let me correct myself, the night itself, my eyes were sore. It was red after the intense battle with my students, my colleagues, and people on the street. I always prided myself on having a high tolerance for pain. I've taken shots, but paintball shots, right into my throat in the midst of combat. I love extreme sports. I was involved in an accident once where a motorcyclist actually knocked me and took me straight in the chest, and I flew 3 meters in the air. And I can still wake up and walk and laugh about it. Yeah, apart from a broken foot which left me on crutches for a month. But this pain was excruciating. I was screaming and rolling in my bed. I couldn't sleep. Usually I'm a person who can rough out in any surface, no matter how rough the surface is. I just close my eyes and I'll go to sleep. But it kept me awake. So much so my brother had to rush me to an emergency clinic and to actually give me, so I got eye drops from the doctor. He was a general practitioner, so I had to see an eye specialist. He recommended that I see an eye specialist. And horror of horrors, I found out my cornea was actually peeled off in the midst of combat. A piece of my cornea was actually peeled off due to the chemical injury. I was on eye drops, antibiotic ointment, and also, man, and I'm still going in and out of hospital. But it taught me one thing, ladies and gentlemen. Throughout the entire time, without asking for anything back, my family cared for me. Due to the fact that my vision was affected, being half blind on Christmas Day, my mother ferried me back and forth throughout work. My colleagues offered to actually cover my classes for me. They sat down and they helped me out. My friends called to find out how I was doing, to find out why wasn't I going to church. Friends whom I've grown up with, friends whom I actually threw aside. I was ashamed. Shame filled me. I knew at that moment that, ladies and gentlemen, no matter how resolute, how steadfast we are to and moving towards our goals. I shall quote the words of Adam Sandler in his movie Click. Family comes first. Friends comes first. Family and friends. No matter what we do, ladies and gentlemen, I implore all of you, never, ever throw your family aside. There is always a danger of developing tunnel vision in the pursuit of our goals. But I say, pursue your goals with single-mindedness, but open them up. Keep your family and your friends within your sight, your goals, and in time, bring them together. Do not develop tunnel vision, for you can be attacked from your flanks. Develop. Keep everything inside. A simple thing will do. A simple call, just to find out how, just to say hi. If you're married, just randomly buy a rose back for your wife or your girlfriend. Or even just inviting them out for a meal. Or buying something for them for their birthdays. These little things actually goes a long way. With that, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, always remember, family first. Despite whatever goals you have in mind, Happy New Year.
For our final evaluation, was well done, Chico. For our final evaluation of very, very enlightening speech by Toastmaster Jonathan Moe, we would call upon one of our experienced Toastmaster, advanced communicator Silver, point leader Calvin Lim, support.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening.
I had the privilege to evaluate Jonathan more on his last final round of his speech in the basic manual, inspire the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, we have heard Jonathan, he has shared his story of not forgetting the roots, or rather not forgetting where he belongs. He shared with us that how he felt regretful that he wasn't kind to his family, friends, and neighbors. Until one day, someday, and true enough that day arrived, he was hurt, he was in trouble, wasn't healthy, by injury, and so on. And despite all the ill feelings and words, perhaps wasn't nice action whereby he was closer and nearest to him, he was still there for him, for Jonathan, our dear friend there. And Jonathan, I'm sure you have learned your lesson very well. And I'm sure this message, each and every one of us, we will take back home and say, tonight I'm going to say nice words to my family members and friends. Try to reduce some naughty words or criticism. Jonathan, thank you for sharing that inspiring message to us. Because we used to forget to say thank you, I'm sorry, and so on and so forth to our dearest and dearest family members and friends. Jonathan, despite all the inspiring words and messages you tried to instill in us, for me personally, I felt that in this message to inspire the audience, it's like some important ingredient was kind of lacking or missing. It's like cooking a curry, but something is not there yet. So I want to taste the curry, but it's just not there yet. So you may want to consider to work on the emotional part, stir us, move us, and make us feel, yeah, I'm 110% agree with you that we should be nice and kind and to our dearest and dearest family members and friends. And as you progress in your speech, I like the part that whereby you ask us to pause and reflect and ponder on those little words. For example, what is important in life? So we like, yeah, what is important? And you give us some pointers. Is it money? Is it power? And so on and so forth. That's good. But as you emphasize on certain words, use those words in your vocal writing at the appropriate time and place, forcefully, and yet very gentle. Because certain points that you need to be emphasized on certain words to make the emphasis much more stronger. It wasn't yet up here, or rather the climate wasn't sufficient yet. Jonathan, I like the way how you quote in the last week, and most to the end of the speech that from Anders Lander is family and friends come first, because no matter what happens, we always want to remember that in life, the world is very cold and bitter, and we should not forget that family and friends are always there for us, especially when we have needs. Jonathan, this speech indeed is very tough for you to handle, but tonight I'm very happy for you.